Jai all. We're here on unit number 3, and this is session number 2 of consumer behavior in marketing communication. So today I'll be taking you through process of communication, different models of communication, what all are the elements of marketing communication process, and one is very important, that is IDA model, hierarchy of effect model. So how does marketing communication works actually? As we discussed in the last session, that marketing communication referred to the means adopted by the companies to convey messages about the products and the brand they sell, either directly or indirectly to the customers with the intention to persuade or them to purchase a product. So in a nutshell, the different medium that company adopts to exchange the information about the goods and services to the customer is termed as marketing communication. So marketers use several tools that all we have discussed in the last session. We already have talked about that marketing communication offers to solution of the questions like why shall the product be used, how can the product be used, who can use the product, where can the product be used, and when can the product be used. So all such things, all such questions need to be addressed by actual proper marketing communication tools like advertising, sales promotion, events, and experience. So today in this session we'll be talking about the communication process model. There are two major models: macro model of communication process, that is as same as that of a human communication model, and then the micro model of consumer response. So this is a basic communication model where there is someone as a sender or as a source conveys a message through a channel or a medium, and a receiver, or here in the case of a marketing especially, received by a consumer. And this process not only ends here, this is through a feedback from receiver to sender. This entire process completes. Now coming to the marketing aspect of this communication process, as this process is same as that of what how we have seen the marketing communication, the human communication model goes. So when I say a source here, in case of a marketing communication, company or the marketeers, the firm is a source which intend to convey some messages in form of maybe to inform, to persuade, to arouse a desire to buy a product, many times as a reminder to the ultimate customer or the middleman many a time. So this process goes like a source here is in case is a company intend to convey a message. That intention, that idea is encoded by the company or by a firm or by a advertising agency in form of a marketing message. So this marketing message is then conveyed through some media or some channel. It could be advertising, personal selling, public relations, sales promotion, or direct marketing, and it then reaches to the receiver here in this case of a marketing can be companies, publics, prospects, the customers, the employees, the stockholders, the community, or the government. And before consumer perceive this message, the process of encoding happens there, wherein the customers try to understand this process is encoding. So sender, the party sending the message to another party, is a sender, which is a major party in a communication process. Then a message is a set of messages the sender sets. It is in form of a sign, symbol, a text, pictures, images, facts, figures. This is a major communication tool where encoding is a function. It's a process of putting through into symbolic form. So this is one of the communication function. Then there is a channel or a media or a medium. This communication channel message is sent through. This is a major communication tool where decoding again is the process by which receivers assign meaning to the sender's transmitted symbol. So this is one of the communication function. Then there on the other side there is a receiver. This is a receiver is a party who receives the message. Here this receiver is an audience. This is a major party in a communication. So sender and receiver are the major parties, whereas encoding and decoding are the major functions. Message and the channel are the communication tool. Then response again is a set of reactions following exposure, reception of the messages. This is one of the another important function of a communication. Noise is something that is unplanned, static or distortion during process of communication. And feedback is a part of response transmitted back to the sender, and this is one of the communication function. So this is how a communication process goes on from sender to receiver. In between there is encoding, decoding, a message, a channel, a response, a feedback, and finally there is something unplanned, that is noise. So in this figure, this shows a macro model of 9 key factors in effective communication, and out of these 9 factors, 2 are representing as a major parties like sender and receiver. There are 2 major tools. One is message, and other thing is media. There are 4 representing the major communication functions like encoding, decoding, response, and feedback. And the last element in the system is a noise. It's random and competing messages that may interfere the intended communication. This can be the advertisement by other advertisers, other firms, other brands. There may be some other information that is available, into this entire system. So this creating a noise. So here the sender, as a company, they must know what audience they want to reach and what responses they want to get. This may be only just to create an awareness among the target audiences or the target customers. This could be the goal and objective of the sender, could be persuading the customers or reminding the customers. So the sender must encode their messages so the target audience can successfully decode them. Then they must transmit the message through some media. Media could be the print media. This could be the broadcast media, means the radio and the television. This could be an electronic media. This could be done through internet or a social media. So that message should be reached through some media to the target audience and develop a feedback channels to monitor the responses. So the more the sender's field of experience overlaps that of the receiver, the more effective the message is likely to be. Then the next important part of this entire communication process is the response hierarchy model. So the hierarchy of effect theory of in advertising, that how consumers' decisions to purchase or not to purchase or not to purchase a product or service is influenced. So the hierarchy represents the progression of learning and decision making, consumer experiences as a result of advertising. A hierarchy of effect model is used to set up a structured series of advertising message objective for a particular product. So this first thing, that is the first model, that is IDA model. So under this IDA model, these 4 models are combinedly talks about these 3 stages: cognitive, affective, and behavior. Cognitive is more related to the information processing part of a consumer. Affective is more of a feeling part which is not visible, and behavior is an action part which is visible, a purchase or an action taken by a consumer. So let's talk about an IDA model. The phrase IDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. The IDA model is used in advertising or marketing communication to define the stages that exist from time when the consumer first becomes aware of the product or the brand to when the consumer purchases a product. So the IDA model is one of the most established model amongst all the response hierarchy model. The organizations employ the IDA model to obtain the necessary response from the targeted consumers through advertising. This model can be operated successfully to stimulate the different emotions of the consumer. So here the attention is the awareness stage of this model, where the consumer becomes aware of the brand or a product mostly through advertisement. Then interest, which is a feeling part after getting attention of a consumer. This is a stage when the consumer shows some interest in the product after understanding its benefits and learns how well the product actually fits into his lifestyle and its needs. Then D is here is a desire, and which is also in part of effective stage. This is the third stage of the item model, when the consumer desire to own the product. He develops a favorable disposition towards the product. And finally, the behavioral stage, wherein the consumer took an action. This is a last or a final step of the model, where the consumer finally takes favorable to satiate his desire. In this stage, he takes purchase decision and buys the product that is being advertised. So in the item model, the awareness of a brand or a product takes place in a cognitive stage. The potential consumers develop an interest and desire to purchase the product. In the affective stage, the purchase and the purchase action actually materialize the last stage, that is a behavioral stage. Now coming to the second model, that is hierarchy of effect model. This hierarchy of effect model was designed by Robert J. Levin and Stinner in 1961. This again is an advertising communication model. Describes that there are 6 phases, from the phase where the consumer views the product to the final purchasing stage. So the job of an advertisement is to promote the customer to endure all these 6 stages of hierarchy of effect model, from awareness, knowledge, liking, preference, conviction to finally purchase. So here the awareness is same as that of an attention, where consumers, this is a primary or elementary stage of a model when a consumer become aware of the product or a brand. This is a very crucial step, as there is no surety about the customer viewership or the awareness of the product. So consumers may view various advertisements, but the chance of a customer registering the advertisement in his mind very much depends upon the intensity and the impact the advertisement made on the target audience. Then knowledge, when the customer starts collecting the required information about the product in this phase, he slowly tries to understand the benefits associated with the product through the internet or the retail advisors or through the people who have already used the product. This is again, this is a cognitive stage. This is a part of information processing done by a consumer. Consumer may easily switch to the competitor brand when they are unable to collect the required information at this stage only. Therefore, it is a responsibility of the advertiser to make sure that the information is easily available at this stage of a consumer's response, a hierarchy of effect. So then next come to the liking stage, this stage when the customer develops a liking for the product. Here the advertiser's responsibility is to highlight the product features to further promote the brand or a product, because this is a stage where customer already have acquired the required information and a feeling of liking develops. Then came with the preference. Here when this is the fourth phase of hierarchy of effect model. During this phase, the customer is clear about the product qualification or eligibility, and he is sure about his brand choice. Here the advertiser need to constantly reinforce the positive aspect of the brand. Then the conviction. This stage, the customer would have made up his mind to buy the product. Here the role of an advertiser is to guide the customer to choose the brand. And finally is the purchase. This is the last stage of hierarchy of effect model, in which the actual purchase of the product takes place. In the hierarchy of effect model, the awareness and the knowledge phase fall under the cognitive stage. Evaluation of the customer, like liking, preference, and conviction, fall under the affective or a feeling stage, and the actual purchase behavior takes place in the behavioral stage. This is what hierarchy of effect model. Then third model is innovation adoption model. This was developed by Roger in 1995, and he talks about, like, there are various stages in which a target customer sails through through from the stage of incognizance to purchase. So this is especially for the product who were who actually introduced in the market, who were new to the customers, or these are the new products. So the innovation of adoption of model are awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption. So awareness is again the primary stage of innovation adoption model. This takes it takes action is the awareness stage of the model, where the consumer becomes aware of the brand or a product, mostly through advertisement, though the product is new to the market or the variant is new to the market. So this awareness stage could be little more longer. And then once the customer or the target market is aware of, the second stage or the second phase of the innovation adoption model is interest. This is a stage in which the information about the brand or a product multiplies in the market and triggers the interest of the potential buyers of the product to gain more knowledge and information about the product. Then came with an evaluation. Evaluation is a important stage, and this is the third stage of this model that actually supplements the necessary information regarding the product to the consumers. In this stage, the consumers evaluate and try to gain a deeper understanding of the product that stimulated interest in them. And then customer reaches to a behavioral stage where he took some action but in form of a trial, because the product is new to the market. So in the stage, the customer tried the product before making the final choice to purchase the product. And if the trial was this trial purchase was satisfactory, then customer reaches to, or customer accept the product, he makes a purchase decision, and he do a repeat purchase. He has adopted a product. So in the innovation evaluation model, adoption model, the awareness happens at the cognitive stage. Developing an interest and evaluation phases fall under the conviction phase, and the trial of the product and the actual adoption fall in the behavioral phase. So this is what the a stage, a model that actually talks about how consumers undergoes all such. So the last model is a communication model. It again consists of these 6 different stages, starting from exposure to reception, then cognitive response, attitude, intention, behavior. So in this model, it talks about the very first phase or a stage of cognitive, that falls under cognitive process that consumer undergo. Exposure is a stage where customers are exposed, or your audience is exposed to a number of information, but consumer may give attention to, or he may receive some selective information, and the selective information is processed in through this cognitive process. So this is what a cognitive response to the information, or to the stimuli received by the consumer. And once this cognition process overs, the consumer may develop an attitude towards an object. This object can be a product, or this can be a brand, or this can be a celebrity, or a price, or a promotion information, or whatever. So attitude is something that is a favorable or unfavorable attitude towards a product or a brand. And once that attitude develops, this is an effective phase or effective stage, or a stage which is not visible to the marketeers. And once the attitudes are developed, whether it is favorable or unfavorable, customer may reach to a stage of forming an intention towards an object, or towards a brand or a product. This intention can be to buy a product, intention to buy a product, or not to buy a product. And finally, this intention may reach to the action stage, that is purchase behavior. So these are response hierarchy models, which actually talks about how consumer undergoes these different processes. Let me take you to another part of this micro model of marketing communication, which concentrate on consumer specific responses to communication. There are three responses: learn, feel, do, feel, learn, and learn, do, feel. So the very one that is learn, feel, do This sequence is appropriate when the audience has a high involvement with the product category. Means the product category is often high involvement nature. So this perceived to have a high differentiation, such as automobile or a house buying. So consumer first try to learn about the different brands available, the different features of the different brands. Then they develop a attitude or a feeling towards, and finally they do take a final decision. So this is what a learn, feel, do response. An alternative sequence to this can be do, feel, and learn. This is relevant when the audience has high involvement, but they perceive little or there is no differentiation within the product category, like such as airlines ticket or a personal computer. So in that case, consumer uh, do they make a decision, then they develop a feeling, interest, or an attitude towards a product or a brand, and then it ultimately add to their learning, and which could be used in the for the buying. Then the third sequence could be learn, do, feel, and this is relevant when the audience has low involvement and when audiences perceives little differentiation, like the product category, like salt in a battery. So consumer do learn first, then they do, they make a final decision, and they develop a feeling about. So by choosing the right sequence for their product category, the marketers can do a better job of planning the communication, right? So this is all about the hierarchy model. What we have discussed in this session is what marketing communication is, what is the process of marketing communication starting from sender to receiver, and what are different micro models that IDA, hierarchy model, innovation adoption model, and a human communication model. So thank you very much for the session and listening to this session.